I've had several podcasts where I just started it out and I was like, fuck, I lost 30 minutes of it because I didn't set this up or I didn't put that right or whatever.
Been there.
You guys have been with me on drone shoots where it's like, oh, that was a good pass. And it's like, fuck, I didn't record. No. So.
And that's a good segue for what are you guys' professions? I guess I need to bring this up for the audience. Matt, you have what, 30 plus years in
30 plus years.
In photography. Jim,
23, I think. 24? No?
Yeah. So these guys are veterans in photography, folks. So
I'm still doing math.
Know.
I'm still doing math.
Yeah, when I got to the point where I started to have to do math, they're like, how long have you been doing this?
Oh, it's been like, 27 years.
Yeah. Wow. And that's another reason why I want to have you guys on the show, because oh my God, some of the stories you guys tell me of the photography gigs you had to go and do. It's just like, wow, I gotta get this on the show.
How many times he's almost got me killed? Those kind of stories.
Oh, he's a big baby.
Yeah, and the times that you took him to like random hole in the wall bars that are filled with sketchy people too.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hear those often enough.
He knows some good places. Well, he broke me.
I know a couple near here. King Henry names.
There's so many scandals. There's so much. Why are we recording? Have we started this?
Oh yeah. We're ready. We're rolling.
Oh, we're rolling.
Now we're starting.
Well, welcome guys. Matt and Jim.
Yes.
Are on the podcast. That's what's up.
That's what's up.
That's right.
Have we started? I guess we've started.
Done.
Got a really interesting life and interesting family.
Yeah? How so?
Your dad and the space shuttle and all of that?
Oh, yeah.
Space shuttle?
That's pretty good. Well, he never made it. My dad in, God, what was that? Was that 96, 93?
It was Reagan. He made the speech about they reached up and touched the face of God.
I think it was
the
92.
Space shuttle that blew
it
up.
was...
Oh,
the
really?
Challenger.
It happened.
I think I would have been the same way. If I was on the list to go, well, look how petty I am about photo shoots. It's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Didn't get that job. Yeah. If I was on the list, I would have wanted to go. Even if I knew now that you're going to die, I still would have wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they told me it was 80, 20%, 80 you're going to die, 20 you're going to live, or 20 you're going to die and 80 you're going to live. I would like be giving it serious thought.
80-20, I'd be like, okay, no. 75-25, I'd go.
Really?
That's it. A 5% difference.
Yeah. Really?
People have asked me if I would go into a war zone to photograph. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Well, like I'm going, this could be stupid.
Not very bright.
You could play this after I'm gone.
Yeah.
But I'm planning on going out in the streets after the election.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about that.
I'm
What's that?
almost positive there's going to be social unrest. Win or lose. Whoever wins, whoever loses. And much like Rodney King, I want to go see it. And do I think I'm going to get mugged and get my equipment stolen? Yeah, I kind of do. But I want to go see.
So should we talk about photography?
Well, yeah, we could turn it back around to photography. And a thing you brought up, Matt, was that, obviously digital photography now is becoming more pervasive in terms of just sheer volume. And there's more competition, of course. But also, wouldn't you say also that a lot of people aren't very keen to the eye of what a professional photo really looks like?
Oh yeah,
like they're more accustomed to just something that's good and that's good enough, not knowing what a professional photo would look like.
Yeah,
right?
I think a lot of times a person or a client or a customer will look at a photograph and not necessarily know, like they have two photographs right in front of them, same subject matter, and they would not necessarily know why they like one photograph over another, and that's our job, is to turn like what might be an ordinary picture into what they would like. And they may not know it. They may not know that, the color, the saturation, the contrast, the composition, and all of these things that are taken into consideration. They may not know what it takes to make a good photograph, but they know they like it, right? And it's like me with like a painting. I don't know why I like that painting. I like that painting, but I'm not, a painter in art. Yeah, I'm not an expert in that.
Right.
But,
and that's my biggest thing right now is that a lot of people can take photography even with their phones nowadays and stuff, but that's still not a professional photo. If you pay a professional that knows their shit, they can deliver something way better that you wouldn't even imagine. But because you're not smart enough to invest in that, you kind of go with what you got.
They're not sophisticated enough to know the difference. But what Jim said was pretty much just spot on. It's I do a lot of stuff that I know other people wouldn't do. And they're like, God, why are you doing all-nighters? Why are you doing all this stuff? I think people can tell. They don't know.
Yeah.
They can't say, oh, I like it. But they will go, this one I just like a little bit better. And it's like, well, yeah, I stayed up all night to give you these 500 images that even though you're only going to use 10, when you're scrolling through them all, you're like, looks good, looks good, looks good. That one's great. Looks good, looks good. Instead of like, yeah. And so I take the time to fix every single one that I deliver.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, another thing, and I've noticed with you, Matt, especially over the years of working with you, is that when we go to restaurants, you look at the menu and you're like, oh, well, this is not fully focused. The lighting's kind of off.
Oh yeah, he's
like you're very particular on the other people's photography skills.
I don't know,
and I didn't even see it until I paid attention. Like you very much have an eye for what professional looks like.
I didn't before. I don't know when that started, but yeah, I'm kind of obnoxious. I could go into a hotel and I'll look at their collateral brochures. I'm like, nice architectural shot. What a piece of shit. What the hell were you thinking? But yeah, sometimes it bothers my wife because I'm not paying attention to her. I'm looking at pictures on the wall. I'm looking at the executive portraiture of the Marriott president. And yeah, I'm drawn to that. I look at it. I'm trying to learn from it. It's like, oh, I should get your job. I'm better than you. Or, holy shit, how the hell did you do that? And I get that a lot. I look at stuff and I have no, there's some girl that follows me on Instagram and I'm thinking, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at some of her shit and I was like, how the hell did you do that?
Yeah.
I was like, that was really good. And so, of course, I admired her work and it pissed me off.
Also when you're hanging out with Matt, you'll notice that every once in a while you get into an elevator or you're in a hotel lobby or something along those lines, and he'll look at something and be like, oh, I took that.
Oh, yes. In many restaurants I mean, restaurants and bars and stuff, like, oh, yeah, I remember I took that picture and stuff. It's like, oh, you took that picture? Oh, yeah, years ago. Like,
that's a bad habit of mine. I'm like, I photographed that building. I shot that bridge. And most of the people that are close to me are like, shut up. We don't care. It's like, I photographed that. See that? I photographed that. Even though I probably told both you guys when we've been in Long Beach that you look at banners and I'm like, I photographed that. And if we were down there tomorrow, I'd be like, yeah, I photographed that. It's like, yeah, we know. You told us last week. That's light meter. But one of the things that I think is just nature for every photographer is you hit the water, your arm goes up. First thing is like protect the camera.
Yeah. It's kind of like an alcoholic in the beer. I'm following.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Save the beer.
I've shot at the beach before and I've wanted to get pretty shallow to that water. And I was like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah. I have a friend that lost a $35,000 red video camera in the surf and it's gone.
You know what that is? That's someone that just keeps pushing it. It's like,
and you're going to run into that shit.
Well, I think you are as creatives because you always are trying for something new and unique and pushing it. I think that's what makes you creative is like you're not just doing the same old job. You're just not adding up 2 + 2. It's like, how can I add up 2 + 2 better than it was before? Yeah. And so you keep pushing it. And that's why we're kind of idiots.
Yeah. And if you lose a paintbrush in the process, so be it.
Yeah,
So,
and that's right. And in the beginning,
Yeah, those repair shops really, add up.
it's the cost. I've gotten to the point where it's the cost of doing business.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than sitting there and being like, well, no, I'm not going to go over there and be in the sand, or I'm not going to go over. I don't think I'm not careful, but it's the cost of doing business.
I think you're very careful. I think you're the appropriate amount of careful, I should say. I would say that, we have a lot of the same kind of thought process on the
Well, you and I
equipment.
do.
Like, yeah, but I think, I don't think you're overly careful. I don't think you're under careful. Can we talk about how he is less than careful than with my life than his equipment?
Yeah,
How he's almost
you keep
killed me a
bringing.
couple times?
That's it.
Oh, you mean the
Cooling tower.
The cooling tower. Oh
yes.
my God!
Oh,
Yeah.
come on, this was back in film days. What did people know about safety?
Yeah.
Where was Kel OSHA back
Yeah.
30 years ago?
I was wearing a helmet, although I almost
that was a model prop, though. I don't think we were wearing that for safety.
That's
That was
true.
to make you look like a construction guy.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
so basically, what happened is that we were shooting these humidifier kind of water tower kind of things. I really don't know the science behind water dynamics and shit. But these are cooling towers, and they have these blades, these like helicopter looking kind of blades
Right.
in these towers. And they're, I don't know, 12 feet long each blade. So a 24-foot radius, somewhere in that area, 24-foot radius. And we're down on these, and it was crazy because we're using these 2400 watt packs, and we're on
Oh,
these,
that's right.
these little grates that are going over like an underground river under here. And 2400 watts, and we're plugging it. Matt's like, put another one over there, and I'm like plugging one in. It's like fucking, I'm thinking about how these things can arc, and it's DC current, and it's a lot of DC current, and how these arc. And I'm sitting over like a river on this little grate that I could just like, it definitely could have died right there.
You didn't look concerned.
Now, I also have a lack of personal concern over my safety, but otherwise I wouldn't do this shit. And,
Right.
but I mean, it's easy if you're not plugging, you're not paying attention. It's easy to arc in these things.
Right.
And we got a 2400 watt pack. So, I mean, I mean, you can kill yourself with this shit, especially when you're standing over
water.
Water, yeah. And then, so Matt was talking, and we're photographing these blades, and they're backlit, and they're up there, and he's just not feeling it. He's like, we need something. And he says, do you want to go up there and pose with the blades? And he says, I'm like, all right, yeah. And he says, take off your shirt. I got a wife beater underneath, and put on my hard hat, and I look like I'm a construction guy. So I climb up the top of this tower, and I'm like reaching in, and I'm acting like I'm working on this fucking turbine that's like, 24-foot radius turbine. And I'm like acting like I'm working on it. And Matt takes a Polaroid, and later we go, and we had the primary contact was part of the construction crew, I guess, the construction company. And Matt shows him the Polaroids, and he's like, oh, I'm really happy with this one. And we had Jim go up to the top of the tower, and the guy looks at it, face turns white, and he's like speechless for a number of seconds. And he just looks, and he says, those things are on an automatic timer, and they speed up full power like that. And he says, you're lucky he didn't get killed.
Yeah, whenever the temperature changes and they need to cool, they go on
Really?
automatically.
So you can fucking
That would have
all
been
of a
chop
sudden.
suey. Yeah, yeah, lots of little pieces. That would have been a really good shot, though. I've done him wrong too. He should tell you about the houseboat incident.
Oh yeah, the boat incident.
No,
That's right.
Well, that's why. Thank God he went. Because, all right.
I saved us, and
yeah, you saved us. Really, you saved me because I have this client, and the wife worked for the marketing company of a big houseboat company. So they were like, "Well, we need some pictures of the houseboat, and we need some lodging pictures, and we need some beverage, restaurant pictures, but we can't pay you. So are you willing to do it for just getting a free houseboat?" I'm like, sure. I'm always sure.
a ski boat.
Yeah, and a ski boat. Yeah. But we I call up all these people and family, and everyone's excited. No one goes, and so I call up Jim. I can always count on Jim. How many did that boat sleep? Like 18 or something?
Oh, at least 18. They had one level. It was nothing but mattress.
And it was just,
I was imagining that was a great party level.
It was just him and me.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How big was this boat?
It was big.
It was
Like a 36 footer?
It was like 2 school buses stacked on top of each other, at least.
It was a big
It was
boat.
5
Oh,
stories.
it's tall.
It's a
It was
houseboat.
tall and very,
kinda
very
wide.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I drove it
Because
to start.
I'm
and I'm
too
like,
much of a
I don't
wussy.
know.
Yeah.
Or like,
we got there and they're showing us how to do it. And he goes, all right, so who's going to drive the boat? I'm like, him.
Right.
Well, he's got more.
I don't give a fuck. Talent.
yeah,
No,
I don't give a fuckness. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I
He's
was
got
thinking.
more balls or more brains or
No,
whatever.
I
I'm
don't
like,
give a fuckness.
Yeah,
They ain't
because
no
I've
balls.
had times where
Yeah.
I'm like,
Married
"Wait,
to
man,
an El
I'm-
Salvadorian woman. I
can
got no
do
balls.
this, man. Don't worry about it." He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, don't touch it. Don't touch." It's like it's all right, man. Look at me. I can do it.
I'm not a worrier, but compared to you and compared to him, I'm a huge worrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of ones. I risked his your 400 millimeter in the
Well,
when I was like trying to
he said-
grab great pictures of the endangered American bald eagle.
he
Turned out
great pictures.
Yeah.
We should have
turned
brought
out
him.
not to be endangered.
Yeah, maybe you can insert him into this video. But he trusted me to drive the boat. I don't drive boats. And then besides trusting me,
Speedboat. This was the speedboat.
yeah, it was
this
like,
wasn't the school bus.
It was like a jet ski boat or
Yeah.
something. Besides having me drive, he kind of put the pressure on me of don't lose the eagle. So it's Miami Vice. It's a guy
Yeah.
who doesn't know how to drive
and I'm
doing-
standing.
doing Miami Vice.
I'm standing in the back of the boat, and there's the crossbars or roll bars. I don't know what they would call them, but in a boat. And I got one elbow here, and I'm like cupping my camera, and I have his 400 millimeter on there, and I got my legs spread, trying to brace myself, and Matt's just whipping around, trying to follow this eagle. All in all, I'm
because
thinking
he
these are
keeps yelling at
fantastic.
me. He's like, "Don't lose him."
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm gonna run over some
But I did get
swimmer
a
in the
great
lake."
shot of a fisher hawk that had grabbed the fish, and the bald eagle had stole the fish from the fisher hawk. It's a great shot.
It's a great shot.
I was thinking, yeah, that's going to pay for the trip and everything because, eagle's endangered. Apparently, there were 30 of them up there, and I didn't know that, but they're not on the endangered list anymore. But
Well,
Yeah.
the fact that you even got it in the frame blows me away.
Yeah.
On a boat where I'm driving the way I'm driving, and the fact that it's in focus just pisses me off.
But the funny thing is that we were talking about how, like equipment, it's just a tool. And that's exactly what we're doing in this situation. Matt's steering the boat. I don't even have my eyes on the horizon. My eyes are through the camera. So I'm like just trying to feel what's going on, and very easily could have lost the camera and lost his lens. And it was probably a stupid thing, especially since
It wasn't a paying job. But
Yeah.
besides the fact that it could have generated money, it's great experience. It's what you do as photographers. They're all sound the same. We will talk
Yeah.
about other things and considerations and cost and safety, and they're
how
all
our knees hurt.
yeah, and they're all important. But almost to a man or woman, get the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're there for, right?
Yeah, but there's-
Literally our job.
Yeah.
yeah, but there's some people that'll be like, well, get the shot based on
Yeah.
other factors. And most of the people I know that I really respect are like, get the shot.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Don't
mean,
kill yourself, but get the shot.
Yeah.
right. Right. I mean, spoken
Dead
like a
people don't
true
cash
photographer,
checks.
really.
That is.
Well, Jim and I flew with
Ara.
Ara, the Kobe Bryant's pilot.
No way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jim
The
and I
guy
flew
that
with him.
passed away?
Not
Or-
too long ago, yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Actually, I have pictures on my phone that Ara took of us.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you take a picture with him?
No, I didn't.
No,
That
we
would have been a great idea.
Oh,
He was
man.
super awesome. The dude's he was a photographer too.
No,
or in
he
some
was,
way, or
he was just, he's been flying so long and flying
knows
so many photographers. He knows photography.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've never seen a helicopter pilot that did all these things and got on his knees and stuff
Yeah.
to do these different angles and get the composition just right.
And then how about this? And then how about this? Do you want to do this?
I'm thinking, wow, this guy knows shit. He was a really nice guy and a really good pilot.
Yeah.
What would you guys, now that you've had this many years of experience doing photography, what would your advice be to new photographers coming into the industry and trying to build up a name for themselves? What kind of recommendations would you give to them, or what would you recommend to yourself 20, 30 years ago, you know?
Oh, it's a good one.
Because this is your profession. This is what you've learned over the time of putting yourself into this industry.
Me personally?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's all about like what drives you, and you know, like when you're like approaching a subject, what invigorates you, what comes up inside and like tells you, I want to go photograph that. One of the things, you know, that I really get into is something that's not necessarily conventional. It's a little bit abnormal. A lot of times that means going out in the middle of the desert. Sometimes it means going to, 3 a.m. in the morning and photographing something, whether it be a building or just a street light. I don't know what it is, but it's something that's unique and personal and kind of quiet. And that's kind of a weird way to put it, but it's kind of a interpersonal kind of a thing. And there's a lot of downplaying with like wedding photography and stuff like that, but I think wedding photography is fantastic because it involves all of your different skills, everything that you've learned, and you're kind of like putting it all together, and you have to move fast. So your brain has to work really hard. So I think that's, stuff that's challenging, that pushes you, and that is rewarding. I think that wraps it up right there in 3 words. You could edit all of that shit out I said in the front.
No, of course, that's great.
Just right there.
That's great.
3.
No, that's great. Matt.
What was the question?
What would your
be your
advice?
Shit? What be your shit?
What is your advice to new photographers stepping into the industry right now? What would you give advice to them? Or if you could go back in time and give advice to yourself back when you first got started?
Well, what Jim said is pretty much spot on. A lot of it is cliched. Like I've given some talks at one of my clients. They have photo workshops, your passion and don't give up and whatever. But I've kind of said things which probably doesn't help too much. When people have asked me if I could do it, anyone could do it. I consider myself more or less an idiot.
In short.
Yeah. And I'm losing my hair.
Yeah.
Well, he's losing more.
Yeah. Now it's starting on my back. I'm not getting. But
yeah,
anyway.
I'm getting it in my ears, which is very annoying.
Mm-hmm.
What were we saying? Oh, advice. One would be, I think a lot of people and creatives in general have this issue of like, I don't want to do that. They're disrespecting me. And I'm just like, get over yourself.
That's a good point.
It's just like, I know this is worth $1,000. They're only paying me $375. And it's like, F them. And it's like, are you going to get a good portfolio sample? Are you going to get good experience? Are you doing absolutely nothing? You're just sitting on the couch and drinking beer? Well, $375 is better than that. I just run into that all the time. It's like, well, who do you think you are? It's like you're working to get experience. You're working your way up. Quit thinking you're the top of your field when you're working your way up. It's like, just suck it up. And to not dismiss you. Are they abusing you? Absolutely. They're absolutely asking you to grab your ankles and just abusing you. but they're in the position of power. So you just like, thank you, sir. Can I have another? That's one. And almost everyone I know that's been successful in it has done things they didn't want to do to get there. And if you're not willing to do that, I don't know, go bowling. I mean, I lived in a garage. I lived in a place that was so cold I could put a plate of water out during the winter and it would freeze. I took a shower in a darkroom sink. I mean,
I made coffee in that sink, by the way.
There was innumerable examples of things that I did. It didn't really bother me that much. It's kind of it's not like I did it because I was chasing a dream or a path. I don't think it's that hard. Let me put it that way. I don't think it's that hard. If that's what you want to do, just do it. It's the way that it gets hard is you start to feel bitter. My friends are going to Tahoe. I can't go. Well, can you afford to go to Big Bear? Okay, good enough. Quit comparing yourself to other people. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
You can call me.
You know, one of the things he mentioned is that setting a value on yourself. And I think that's something that a lot of photographers don't do very well. It's when you provide a service, whether you were a professional or whether you're just starting out. I mean, there's a certain amount of value to your time. And if you sit there and tell people, okay, I'll photograph this and I'll do it for $50, you have set a value on your name and your work. And if you sit there and you go, I will set a value low, then that's pretty much what your referrals will provide for you. That's what's going to happen in your future. It's, you know, anytime somebody comes up to you, they'll be like, oh, so-and-so said they paid you $50. I'll pay you $50 too. And you tell them, no, that was just like a thing, you know, my real price is $300. And they're going to be like, wow, $50 now it's $300. I'll pass. I'm going to look for somebody else, regardless if you're good or not. That's going to happen. And you have to be able to tell yourself that if you're going to work for somebody and they want to give you less than what you value yourself at, I mean, be willing to say, you know what, I'm going to do this for free. I am not going to charge you my normal $500 rate. I'm going to give it to you for free so that you can see what my value is. And then you can sit there and say, you know what, I didn't charge you at all. I didn't place a value on myself at all, but my value is $500. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, that didn't come out right at all.
No, that I probably didn't verbalize it. He did it exactly.
It's hard to say. It's hard to put.
There's times where you're going to feel abused, but when Jim was telling that anecdote or whatever, there are times that I've worked for free where the benefit was exposure. There was something I did for the magazine, right? You know which magazine I'm talking about. I shot for them for like a couple of years for free. I got parking tickets of $50 when I go and shoot these assignments. I was getting nothing. And then
it cost you.
Yeah. And then I'm going out and buying my assistant, you know, beers and whatever. So the whole thing was costing me, but that led to so many jobs in that city. You have to look beyond. You got to look at the big picture. You can't just look on the thing. It's like, oh, that one job. I see too many people. It's just like, no, I'm not doing it for that. It's like, have you ever shot the space shuttle before? No. Well, maybe that's a benefit for your portfolio. Maybe that's worth doing it for zero. I don't get frustrated, but I get mystified with people that are just like,
yeah.
And I'm like,
it's the difference of what you charge and how you place your value.
on yourself.
And it's hard. I don't place enough value on myself. Everyone said that, but I have a problem with that's my own issue. That's a whole nother podcast. But you need to, if you start out as a beginner and you put value on yourself because you put professional in front of your name, but you don't have the skills, you're doomed.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, in closing remarks, the only token, I don't have enough experience as you two combine at all. But to add to a token to both of your response to that is to under promise and over deliver.
Absolutely. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
You don't know what you're going to deliver, but whatever you do the best you can, and you try to over deliver as much as you possibly can, because that is great experience for yourself and great look for the client. And on top of all of that, what I've really realized for myself, honestly, is listen to yourself. Honestly, and those people that are listening to yourself. Don't listen to those critics that tell you, oh, these pictures aren't no good, they're underexposed or overexposed or whatever. Don't listen to them. And also don't listen to those people that tell you, oh my God, you got a great eye, you could do this, you can do that. Listen to your own passion, because that passion is what is going to push you past those difficult 18, 20-hour days where you're working overnight, that you're tired and sick and you can't get up. You need to push yourself through that. And if you don't have that passion in you and you don't know how to get past that, you're not going to make it here. And as unfortunate as that is, and I think that is universal in any real profession. And if you keep listening to those people, you're going to be lost forever. And you need to listen to your own voice and see how much will you have in yourself and push that forward. And that's as much as I got to say. Thank you so much, Matt. I really appreciate you, Jim. Thank you so much for being here.
It was fun.
Great conversation. Gotta have you guys again in the future. All right?
Right on.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.
Beer? All right.
Boom. That's it.
So we're out.
He's good, right?